Hey everyone, welcome back to Tuesday Tea with me, Alisha Bowker Mudrock. Today you're getting a mini episode, so it's just me. It'll be a bit shorter than my normal conversations, but still have some really important and impactful pieces of musings, thoughts, gossip, vulnerabilities to share with you today. So I hope you listen. I hope you enjoy. Be sure at the end to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss any Tuesday Teas. This month, we're getting into this incredible topic around the idea of a reset. It's a new quarter, it's a new season. So I really want to dive deep into what it means to reset. And we're going to get into it. Full disclosure, I recorded this whole episode yesterday and I went back to get it ready for the email and there was no sound. So that feels just like sort of how this year's been going. So hopefully I have the same helpful, profound things I felt like I had to say yesterday today. But just to kind of kick us off, because what I think I want to really talk about first is how this year has felt hard. Um, I think I had a lot of highs in 2024. I got my Pilates certification and mat hours. I dove into starting really rolling out products for my coaching business. I wrote a book and I published it and I saw it on Goodreads and on Amazon. And I was coming off so many wins and so many big things that I had some incredible high hopes and ideas for what 2025 was going to bring. And then the new year started and it was January and February. And now we're in March. And it has felt really hard, really disappointing in some ways. And that's where I realized I was sort of at this juncture. And I could go two different ways. I could just stay stuck, or I could consider the information I had thus far and hit into this word reset and kind of consider how I want to use the energy and the information and make Q2 something different. So, just in full disclosure, I write down quarterly goals on this whiteboard next to my desk. I've been doing it for the last couple years now, and this is the first quarter I didn't meet all the goals on that whiteboard. And that feels really tough to admit out loud. And it feels really frustrating and disappointing. And that competitive side of myself against myself feels very defeated and like a failure in some ways. And I started thinking about it and I was like, is it because the goals were too lofty? Or is it because something else is going on? Like what's different? Why weren't those met this quarter? I will say maybe some of them felt a little more ambitious. Maybe other goals I'd set, I felt like I had a lot of proof that they could get done, so it felt safe to set them. And maybe there was something about some of the ambition around the goals I had for this quarter that there wasn't as much proof. But I also think there's just something about the start of this year that is pervasive and being felt globally. And it feels like we're working with a different landscape than normal. And so I think that's where we need to offer more curiosity and grace and some adjustments. And so upon not meeting these goals, as I'm about to set the goals for this next quarter, since April is here, I could play it safe. I could go small. I could set things I know for sure I'm going to accomplish for what? To be able to check them off and feel good about it. But instead, I think I'm viewing this as failure is the best source of information, motivation, and it's essential to growth. Without failure, we haven't tried because we don't get everything right the first time. And if we're not trying, we're not growing. And so I'm going to double down and set even more ambitious goals for Q2. And we're going to see what happens, right? And that's what I've been trying to kind of harness is this idea of instead of using the frustrations, the difficulties, the failures, the scarcity mentality, the fear that it seems to be running around in this first 3 months of the year, instead of staying stuck in that or colluding with it, I want to use that as motivation. I want to double down. I want to understand that while some of these things might be real and true, there also is a lot happening. I'm also in motion. It's not, oh my God, look at what I haven't done or what I can't do. It's like I'm already on this ball's already rolling. Like, let's keep it going, right? And so that's what I've been really thinking about as I'm entering into this new quarter is how to reset my mind so that I'm not getting looped into negative, unhelpful, self-defeating thoughts, that I'm not lowering my own ceiling, so to speak, but that I can be audacious and dream big and shoot for the stars and keep going, right? And that's what I want for you. And I think that there's something really powerful in not only just thinking up goals or having a rough idea of kind of where you're headed, but writing them down. I've been listening to a lot of different little snippets and talks and looking at some research. And there's so much power in actually physically writing down your goals and not just writing them down once at the start of the year, but writing them down continuously. And so that's why I have this whiteboard where I write them down and I see them. I write down other small goals daily, weekly that are going to get me to maybe those bigger goals. I did create a vision board at the start of the year, but I want to always be revisiting those vision points within smaller versions of goals that get me there and be writing them down, saying them out loud, holding myself accountable to them and working towards them. And so it can feel sometimes maybe scary to actually put something out in the universe. But once it's out there, that's how we're now going to double down and show up for ourselves differently than if it's just in our brain where we can continue to manipulate and uh, rework and reword so that we can kind of always keep ourselves again like smaller or hold ourselves back or make up excuses for why, oh, that goal didn't really count. Like, actually, I'll do that later. But if it's on paper, if you've told a friend, if you're having an accountability partner, well, if you put it on the internet, people see it. There's something about that that's like, oh shit, like now there's a fire under me and this ball really is rolling. And so I want you to think about what are some goals that you have came into the year with that have been percolating that have been brewing that maybe you've been too afraid to actually move from your brain to paper or to saying it out loud to someone. I want you to right now, if you have somewhere where you can do this, write it down. Write down that one goal. Because when we write it down, it becomes a part of us. It's becoming a part of our story. It's now releasing that energy and putting it in the world. It's its own force, and it's going to take on its own life in a way. And that's exciting. And yes, it is really terrifying on some levels, but it's also really exciting. And I think also when we're thinking about goal setting, we have to understand kind of what our vision is. What are the goals we're even creating? Because where are we even trying to go? And so that's where I think coming into this idea of vision casting or thinking about like, where do I see myself? Is it a business goal? Is it a financial goal? Is it a relationship goal? Is it a personal goal, a weight goal, house goal, a goal with your children, a goal with a travel goal? It could be really about anything, right? A lot of mine this year are really around business. I think I'm really focusing on my second business, my coaching business, Pilates coaching, and really figuring out how to move that to the next level. That's where personally I am, and also some travel goals. Travel goals have been really realized. We've booked the trips, we have flights, we have hotels. So that one feels really good. That's actually a win. That's something that energy I came into this year with. We're going out of the country a few times. We're going places, we're doing things, and we're doing it. Business is where I think I've been feeling more defeated and stuck, and that's the one I'm really going to hone in on, especially in this next quarter, of what's my vision? How can I realign, reassess, recalibrate, reset on that vision and where I'm at now, and then make some goals that make sense to get me there. And there's something also about the beauty of thinking around goals or intentions, building them into sort of your lifestyle and your routine. I talk a lot about Pilates and that mind-body connection, and Pilates is this lifestyle. So how do you embody the lifestyle of the goals and the vision you have, not just for one specific thing, whether it's like your relationship, your kid, your business, your travel, your health, but how does it become a routine that naturally lends itself to how you're living your life, that lends itself to that goal definitely being accomplished and thought of and realized and built upon because it's just coming so organically. It's about the system and the habits that we have in place that help us to continue to show up for ourselves even when we don't feel like it. Because I'll be honest, I do not have the same level of motivation or inspiration or desire every day. Some days when I have more of it, I capitalize on it and I do more. But the days that I have less, I meet myself at the bare minimums, right? Well, I don't want to do, I don't want to record a ton of content. I don't feel like being super creative, but I have some good systems in place. Here's how my emails go. Here's what my graphics already designed for podcasts are. Here's the system for this. Here's the system for that. And I can just sort of like check the boxes a bit. So it's not always so sexy and exciting, but those systems and habits and that routine piece keeps up a structure that my goals can continue to fit in and can continue to be realized because I'm not having to reinvent the wheel every time or find some superhuman motivation or inspiration every single day because that's not realistic either, right? And I think doubling down on all of that is this idea of like where our mindset is. Like I mentioned earlier, since this year has been challenging and difficult and frustrating for folks, and there's been a lot of, I think, fears around scarcity and a lot of like coming into ourselves and putting up blocks. It feels that is a mindset problem. And so I could have also, like I said, pared down my goals for Q2, shut myself down, lowered my ceiling, just played it small and safer. But that's not the mindset I want to embody. That doesn't align with my vision or where I see myself. So the mindset shift here is what's holding me back and how can I get out of my own way? I think we also can be our own worst enemy, our own worst critic, our own worst block. And I don't want to be the reason I don't show up for myself. I don't want to be the reason I don't succeed at something. I don't want to be the reason I don't try something. I want something else to be the reason if it doesn't work out, not because I didn't take that first step. So, like I said before, this idea of like, oh, but that goal's so far away, we can switch that to, well, it's already happening. It's already in motion. Like it is gonna occur, not today maybe, but like the wheels are already turning, we're already there describing the same exact event, but with such a different perspective. And I think that second one sounds so much more hopeful and motivating and empowering than the first, right? It's also about thinking and taking the frustrations, the fears, the failures, the doubt, and putting that towards, again, this idea of a motivator and something that feels empowering and powerful instead of something that feels heavy and is holding us back and keeping us stuck. So I can have fear and I can step out in confidence and trust, knowing that to do anything big or hard takes a leap of faith, so to speak. And the worst thing that happens is it doesn't get realized and it's okay. Like I'll figure it out, right? But the scarier option, like I said, would be to never even try it or put it out there. Or, my friend and I, we want to start doing pop-up Pilates around where we live. So we're going to call places and send emails. The worst thing that happens is they don't answer or they tell us no. But at least we can try. At least we can put ourselves out there and maybe one or two or 10 will say yes. And now we have all these really incredible opportunities we would have never had. They weren't just going to fall into our lap. We had to go out there and be proactive and be a part of our goals, our vision, but we didn't let fear or embarrassment or our own like rationalizations get in the way and stop us from doing that. So I think that's where that big mindset shift is really essential, again, to upholding those routines and habits and infrastructure, to even being open-minded and brave enough to set the big goals and say the big things out loud, to dreaming and being clear on our vision is also a mindset piece in there as well. So this is where I think these are all super interconnected and important, that to have a full reset, we have to fully understand all the aspects in which we are going back in to sort of examine and figure what we're leaving behind, what we're doing some tweaks on, and how we're moving forward with that. And this is where a really incredible and exciting offer that I have comes into play to help and facilitate this process for you. Because yes, you can do this all on your own, but it's always, I think, a lot more special, powerful, motivating to do stuff with others. So I'm hosting a workshop Monday the 7th, so next Monday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be over Zoom, so you could be anywhere in the world to join. And what we're really going to be diving into is one, some vision casting. So getting very crystal clear on what your vision is, particularly for this quarter, but also and beyond. We're going to really dive into that goal setting piece, how to set and think about goals that are actually very realistic, reasonable, that you actually will have outcomes for, but are also big and bodacious, right? That aren't small or already accomplished. That's just about like now checking off a box, but you already know you've kind of done it. I'm going to push you a bit, and we're going to write them down. We're going to really play around with that idea of what does it mean to put it on paper, pen to paper, and really write it down, and to say it out loud to others and to share some of those with people. And then we're going to talk a little bit about these mindset shifts, this lifestyle idea, how to sort of that connection between mind body, how to kind of put this all in motion and set you up with a really clear plan or foundation of a plan for how you're going to execute and move forward with all the really rich work we're going to do. Because it's not just something that's done in one night, but this is the starting point, along with a few surprises. I have a couple other ideas of things I want to add into that should be really, really special and fun. So some will be a little bit solo, some will be interactive, some will be a little listening. It's going to be a really, really exciting hour and a half that I'm so excited and have been thinking so much about. It's very dear to my heart. This is stuff I really believe in and find to be really impactful. So I'd love to have you there. You can sign up. The links will be here on the YouTube channel, in the newsletter. You can email me. I can send it on my social media. But I would love for you to be there. And I know that money is feeling tight for a lot of folks, that things are feeling uncertain. And I respect that. And I think I want you to think of this as an investment. It is a smaller investment than some things, but a really, really important one. This small financial investment is going to set you up for uncalculable amounts of return, not maybe monetarily, and also um, mentally, physically, spiritually, relationally. I think you're going to see such huge results in so many areas of your life that we can't even put a price tag on that. So I really want you to think about, if that's your first hesitation around finances, but really think about this as an investment for yourself. It's going to pay off in a really huge way. And if you're really feeling like you want to dive in even deeper, then I do have a VIP upgrade that will give you lifetime access to my Back to Basics course, which is a 4-session foundational Pilates course, as well as a 30-minute coaching session with me that we will do after the workshop. You have 60 days to schedule that out and put on my calendar. And we can dive even deeper on some of these goals and progress and like accountability and getting clear on your vision and all of that in that 30-minute strategy call. So I would love to see you there again, April 7th. If you can't make that, then I would still love for you to follow along regardless. For this month, I have some really incredible guests. We're going to be talking about mental reset, body reset, joy reset, and energy reset. Some really great leaders in these different fields who have some incredible wisdom to share around these topics. And I want to just leave you with, let this be a season that feels hopeful, exciting, endless possibilities, and bright. And let's leave behind the heaviness, the fear, the monotony, the negativity that the first 3 months of this year have seemed to bring for many. So I hope you have a really great day. I hope to see you all on Monday at the workshop. And if not, I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.